I'm Lynn McClanahan, and I'm a counselor, an affiliate counselor with Reliant Behavioral Health, and I want to welcome you all. I am a licensed professional counselor. I do a lot of individual work with people, and I also do a lot of the seminars and webinars as well for Reliant Behavioral Health. And this is one of the popular topics this time of year. We've had over 350 people sign up for this, which says that it is that you're attracted to this, that you may feel that you need this kind of help during this time of year. So I want to welcome you and hope that there's some value in the time that we have together. We're getting our screen going now, so bear with us a moment. And it's not moving. So technology interferes a bit. We're getting what will help me advance the slides right now. So here we are looking, when we talk about the managing stress over the holiday, we're talking about many holidays. This starts with Thanksgiving. We're talking about Hanukkah, Christmas, Kwanzaa. So whatever, and it culminates basically with Christmas as being one of the more, a lot of expectations that go with this holiday season, especially at Christmas. And we'll be talking about that. So looking at these holidays, what does it make you think of? We talk about dealing with, does it raise the stress even kind of looking at the holiday? Is it kind of noticing the tension in your shoulders or the to-do list that you're still haven't begun to get through? So when we are talking about dealing with holiday stress, there's several things that can factor in. The days are, in dealing with holiday stress, the days are shorter. We're seeing that. Weather is colder. We've had some extra stress the past couple of weeks with weather problems, with snow, the expectation of snow again today. That adds to the holiday stress when we're trying to get things done and prepare for Christmas. Holiday countdown begins. The malls are filled with beautiful decorations, which I saw happening even before Thanksgiving, which it seems like it's getting earlier and earlier every year. Music and food are ample, and we also have some extra stress this year, I'm feeling, and many friends of mine are feeling, and clients following the election. So I want to start with a question to all of you, which is a polling question. Has the election affected your holiday outlook? And if you could take a moment to answer yes or no. I think it's been it was an election season that had a lot of stress and conflict associated with it, and then the election results for many have added just a feeling of stress and some burden as a result of that. So just wondering if that's also impacted. I hear from clients as well that it's like they've lost whatever enthusiasm they might have had. They just feel a bit heavier, slower, more depressed, those things that are impacting this season for them as well.
So it looks like 34% voted yes and 66% voted no.
Okay, so that's good. So the election hasn't affected your holiday outlook. You've kind of, that your holiday is proceeding holiday in a way that's renewing and satisfying as we help you move through the stress of the holidays. The effects of the holidays, that pretty basically we often experience less of many things. We have less free time. We might be, due to the preparing for the holidays, we can experience some sleep issues for many people. We often don't get the exercise that we know can be helpful. There's less time to be alone, as we might be with friends or family. There's less relaxed times with family or friends. What we also have more of is the sugar and fats that are consumed. More alcohol is consumed. There's an increase of worry about money and spending, especially over the holidays, an increase of responsibilities of preparing and planning and getting the tree up and decorated, and the lights on outside or whatever decorations you might have over a holiday season. There basically is just more to do during this season. So, are we having fun yet? The sources, again, of holiday stress are family, which can be a source of happiness, but it can also be a source of stress. Gifts will be time and money, and we're kind of going to be reviewing some of this as we move along. Another polling question that I have for people today is that sometimes the expectations, which we'll be talking about, are kind of maybe based on past holiday events, or it can be, which can be a source of stress as well. So another simple polling question is, did you enjoy past holiday events, or did you feel more of a sense of obligation? And I'm realizing with this question, you may have a little of both. So just right now, if you're feeling more of a remembrance and looking forward to this due to feeling an enjoyment of past events, please press 1. And if you're feeling more of a sense of obligation and less enjoyment as you're facing the upcoming events over the holiday season, press 2. So taking a moment for that polling question, it helps since I'm here and I'm speaking to you, you're looking at the screen, it helps me also feel more of a sense of your connection by having some of these questions that have you tell me what you're all feeling.
So the majority of participants voted 73% enjoyed many past holiday events.
So that's great. So I'm glad to hear that most of you have the memories of enjoying many past holiday events. And sometimes it's even going back to the childhood holiday and the memories and traditions that you have there, and then more recently, the recent years. So it's good to have, I'm glad to hear that most of you have the memory. It's not the stress of feeling of obligation, but more of for most of you, feeling a memory of enjoyment for past events. Some of the other things as we look at the impact or things that influence our stress during this holiday season, one of them for sure is commercialism. It targets our vulnerability. It pressures people into buying gifts to make up for time not spent with others during the year, perhaps. Also just the sense of more is better again as we talk about, oh, I don't have enough. I should get one more thing for this or that family member. It also commercialism can promise unrealities, kind of the perfect families portrayed in the advertisements that we watch on TV or in the newspaper, of course. Other causes of holiday stress can vary. For some people, it can be being alone, that this is a time of family holidays, and if you live by yourself or if you've had a loss during this year through maybe a divorce or the death of a loved one, those things can come up, and the feeling of being alone can be a source of stress for some people. For other people, it can be too much family, that you kind of have the visits that are coming in from the in-laws and your family, and then the neighbors and the other gatherings for work, and so there can be too much people, it can be too much family, sort of needing a little bit of, again, some time. We lose the time to ourselves, perhaps, during this holiday season. The losses we've talked about, emotional disappointments during the year, and the other thing that factors in is holiday blues or the seasonal affective depression. Again, we live in not only is it for nationwide that there's less light during the winter months, but certainly up here in the Pacific Northwest, we are more susceptible to that seasonal affective depression, and I encourage you, next month we do have a webinar that offers more specific information and help around that if you experience SAD. So when we move into looking at how to handle family stress, there's some suggestions that I would that we have. One is to kind of look at making plans early. So not waiting to the last minute. My brother and sister-in-law are very almost the other extreme of this, of making plans earlier than we're ready to plan our holiday season. So I think they've been emailing and texting us since after Thanksgiving, saying what are the plans, what's going to happen, what do you want for holiday, for your Christmas list. So in some cases, the making plans too early can add the stress of, oh my gosh, I'm not ready to plan yet. But for the most part, making plans early and putting that information out to family members can really help people know how to kind of schedule for themselves or how to plan as we move into this holiday season. Sometimes handling family stress is also kind of avoiding long visits. So where it's kind of this open-ended day, or you know that a certain family member that you're going to visit, your grandmother, or your aunt or uncle, that it might be a person that you might have some tension with, it can be a wise idea perhaps to just sort of schedule that to be maybe a dinner or a shorter visit in some way. So avoiding long visits, because long visits can add to potential conflictual interactions or tension at times. In other cases, it can be just nice to be leisurely during the day, have that long time sitting by the fire, not playing some games. So again, it depends on your family and what you enjoy doing. A strong suggestion is to defer settling arguments until later. So there may be tension due to some family issue or conflict, and it's just fine, unless in most cases, to just say, let's table that and let's talk about that after the first of the year, so that you don't get kind of into that kind of discussion or argument during the holiday season. For some people, handling holiday stress is to just get together at a different time of the year, that if it's just can be too much or too stressful to sort of try to get everything coordinated during this one big day of the year or this one big holiday season, kind of making that more of a gathering that you do at a different time of year. I also encourage people to be flexible with traditions. It's great to hear that most people have a good memory of past holiday events, so taking that as your information and cue of what are the traditions that have worked for you. Are there any new traditions you want to introduce that are more personal to you and your family versus the family that you grew up with, perhaps? Have the kids involved even with that when they're of age, of what they would want to do. Also be flexible if something isn't working anymore, to say, you know, we don't need to do that this year if we don't want to. Just either whether in your head or with just family in general. Again, with expectations, it helps to verbalize that as well, that this year we're not going to do the tradition of lighting Christmas caroling around the neighborhood, for example. So we may let go of some traditions. And again, the involving children and all of that can be helpful in most cases. It can sometimes also be wise to just say and include them in the areas that makes the most sense, depending on their age and stage. So when we talk about sources of stress, and many times it's the expectations that we have for ourselves or for our family members. Expectations can be the root of many of our sources of stress. It's not the event or the situation that causes the feelings or responses or anxiety or whatever it might be, but instead it's the expectations or our beliefs of what we wanted that things to be like. So kind of checking out our expectations and making them more reasonable can be helpful in itself. So for family, for example, the expectation of I must always be with my family. But if your family this year is scattered, or they are having a family gathering with your son or daughter-in-law want to have their family gathering with the in-laws, letting go of that expectation that, okay, this year they're going to have Christmas with their in-laws, and they'll have the day after Christmas with us, perhaps. So kind of looking at I must be with my family, and instead have that say, well, this is what is the reality for this year, and it's reasonable, and I can look at what is going to happen for me this time of year for this Christmas. Expectations that our house and family should always be like Martha Stewart's. Again, we have the commercialism of what's going to be the perfect family, and step back from that and say what's realistic, and we're all enjoy or appreciate the imperfections, and even have some laughs around how things don't always go the way we have planned for them. Other expectation is my kids should be happy and excited about Christmas. Why are they in bad moods this year? Why are they cranky? Why are they fighting with each other? And then our stress from that might have a sharper tone or more unrealistic expectations for young children. So, and then if we continue with expectations, there's also the sense of the feeling, the expectation that I should feel happy, generous, and loving the entire time during this holiday season. Why? And then questioning, I shouldn't feel stress and tension. I shouldn't have snapped or been sharp-toned with a family member. So expectations of ourselves to be our shoulds. I should feel happy, generous, loving at all times. Financial, I will disappoint people if I don't spend a lot of money and provide them with the gifts that they have on their Christmas list. And we'll be talking about that again as well shortly. Competition, what will people think of me? What will the neighbors think of me if we don't have all the lights up outside? It was interesting looking at my neighborhood this year that we're down to maybe 2 houses that actually put up any lights. And that may be that we're the Grinch neighborhood, but I think people have just sort of let up on themselves as far as what if it's just not it's too much to then put the string of lights outside, and so but to not have that added pressure of what will people think of me if I don't have a well-decorated house. The expectation of eat, drink, and be merry. I have to drink and eat a lot to be merry with the rest. So that's kind of like at the holiday parties, at the family gatherings, the expectation that we need to keep up with the same level of consumption, and then we pay the price the next day or the next week or the next month with, again, weight gain, with a hangover, with added issues with substance abuse. So kind of letting up on ourselves and really being fine with being moderate during this holiday, being reasonable with yourself, and keeping a check on yourself of whether you want to eat more or drink more, and kind of help reduce your stress by setting your own reasonable expectations. Some of the things when we talk about holiday stress busters, again, this is focused a bit on expectations, as well as that we may want to sort of take time to rethink what is stressing you out. Tell yourself a message of, if I have time, I'll do it. Tell yourself a message of, if I want to do it because it brings me or my family pleasure, I will do it. If it's something that the opposite is true, of saying, no, who am I doing, what is this agenda for? Is it because I'm locked into this is how it should be, or I feel that others expect that of me? Then that's the wrong reasoning. So for you, asking yourself those questions. If I have time, I'll do it. If it's important and valuable to me, I'll do it. If it's helpful to and brings pleasure to my family, and I can fit it into my schedule, I will do it. It can also help to delegate. Let each family member be responsible for something, and that also has kind of more of a buy-in. We know this in the workplace in terms of involvement, but even with family members, are you the only one that's putting the ornaments on the tree, and that's been consistent for the past couple of years, and you feel some resentment about that you're the one that is keeping that family tree decorating going? It might be wise to talk to family about we need some more participation in this. One idea is also to create a job jar where you kind of say you put the jobs that are focused around the Christmas holidays, tree decorating, cookie baking, and then, take turns pulling things out and having multiple people who are responsible for the tree decorating or baking cookies or the lights outside or whatever it might be. So a job jar to share responsibilities, which can be helpful in a general way for the chores, the regular chores that we have around in our homes. So I would encourage that as well. If we look at another expectation is gift giving. So dispelling the myths, we can get ourselves in trouble if we have the expectations that the number of gifts measure the amount of love we have for each other, or that it's acceptable to overspend since holidays only come once a year and we can splurge this year, like we splurged last year or the year before to get everyone what they wanted on their Christmas list, and then have paid that debt over the past year, and here we are again. And the myth of money to cover debt accumulated at Christmas will come from somewhere. That's definitely a myth that we kind of lead ourselves to believe that there will be some magic money coming from somewhere that will cover these costs, or that these gifts need to be better than last year. And we have many of those. We can look at what our expectations or the myths we have for our own friend or family gathering. I must give a gift to every good girlfriend in my life. I must give a gift to everyone I work with. I must give a gift to the neighbors. Whatever it might be that is a must or a should, I would encourage you to double check that. Is that a should that's set in stone, or is it the should that you've presented as for yourself? And it is fine to start kind of rethinking again whether that's reasonable for you to continue. So the gift-giving rules that are guaranteed to stress you out is to give a gift to everyone you expect to get one from. So that kind of thing is what feeds our continued buying. Well, so-and-so, my neighbor gave me a gift last year, so I've got to be sure to give her one this year. Or family members that you may have little or less contact with. So you can also kind of stop that pattern that they may also be continuing because you gave them a gift last year as well. So it's fine to start kind of re-looking again at those rules that we've set for ourselves or have made for ourselves. When you add a name to your gift list, give them a gift every year thereafter. That's kind of, again, no reason to do that. Gifts exchanged must be equal in value. Well, we're all in different circumstances, and it's unfair to expect that gifts exchanged must be equal in value. This year's gift needs to be better than last year's gift is another myth that we just, again, adds to our stress. So moving along this line, which we're talking about the money aspect or the spending parts of Christmas, do you have a budget for your Christmas gifts? And if you could take a moment to answer yes or no to that. It's a good idea to have a budget in general, which most of us may not be good at keeping, but definitely around the holiday season, it's something that actually can be helpful to say this is the amount of money that we're going to try to spend and keep to that budget over this holiday season. So the answer to that polling question?
So 58% voted yes.
Yay!
44% voted no.
Okay, so good. I'm really glad to hear that and encourage the no votes to start considering having a Christmas budget. It keeps you to kind of stay within your bounds that you've presented, your limits that you present of how much you want to and are able to spend this year. So that's wonderful. So as we move to other ideas for around the money stress is, again, that budget. I'm glad to hear that most of you have a budget to avoid a financial hangover. Think about alternative ways to give gifts. That might be the name exchange idea. That could be a non-gift year, that you do something that is community-minded, or decide to go to a holiday musical event instead of gift giving, that there's a game that's associated with giving gifts, something that might make it more fun. So kind of, there can be alternative ways to give gifts. That sharing the expense of holiday meals, if you're always the one that has the Christmas dinner at your house and that you feel resentful and realize that there's a cost to that of providing food and beverage for family or neighborhood gatherings sometimes, to share the expense of holiday meals, that kind of either in the form of potlucks or actually literally saying, let's all chip into buying this year's turkey or whatever. Do activities with family and friends that cost little or no money. It might be a hike in Forest Park. It might be even a walk around the block, or the Christmas caroling idea for people that enjoy that. There are many activities that cost little or no money and have the same kind of pleasure. And then remember the reason for the season, which is love and joy, right? So kind of looking at where you're getting that and how you're getting that, and so that it's not lost during this holiday season. The other thing that we talk about is in terms of budgeting, really, is how we budget our time, how we manage our time. So again, if we can do things early, then shopping early, that can be wonderful, so that you're not caught on Christmas Eve with the masses doing the last-minute shopping. It can be really helpful to make a list of, again, for presents and keeping to a budget, what you're buying and who you're buying it for. It's okay to refuse invitations. So it may be the neighborhood holiday party that you RSVP that you're not attending this year, or the work gathering, or other events. My husband has had a work vendor event that he was invited to that he was stressing out about, and it was scheduled for tonight, and lucky for him and me, I guess, that we were feeling a bit overscheduled, and they canceled tonight because of an expectation about the weather. But it's reasonable to sort of say no and not give lots of excuses of why you're saying no. This year I'm not going to be able to attend whatever it is. Take time for yourself. We don't budget our time for ourselves, and I think we get in the hurry sickness idea, the hurry and scurry, and need to fit one more thing in, especially during this time of year. So kind of really actually my encouragement is actually scheduling time for yourself, making that, put that in your calendar, so that when you go to sort of say, what am I doing tonight at 5:30? Oh, I just marked this out as time for me. Whatever that is that you do that gives you relaxation and is a stress reliever would be my encouragement of what you do for yourself. Shared tasks and responsibilities. Again, that kind of delegating, it doesn't all have to land on your lap. And again, the setting limits or saying no is also can be helpful. And if we continue to talk about reducing holiday stress, again, with that expectations as much as anything, is to set realistic goals. Pace yourself, so you're not waiting for the last minute. You're not go, and not taking time for yourself. Organize your time. Schedule if it's time that you're going to do the Christmas shopping or the time that you're going to go mail the gifts at the post office. Make sure that that's maybe somewhere on your calendar as to help with organizing your time. Make a list and prioritize your tasks. Again, setting limits or saying no. And don't spend too much time preparing for just one day. We build up to this just one day. So if we can spread it out and have the other things that are part of the holiday season, like tree decorating being an event in itself, or having the holiday meal be the day after Christmas rather than Christmas. Those kinds of just ideas of spreading out the holiday season. Set a budget and stick to it, a real budget. We've talked about that, and I'm glad to hear people do that. And really look at how much can I use from income, credit cards, and spending on gifts and entertainment so that you don't have any surprises after the holidays? So we're getting towards the summarizing and the things that can be helpful. 5 steps to coping with stress. Our commitment, sort of if you're doing this holiday, I'm glad to hear people have traditions that they enjoy and committing to that. Making time for meditation and reflection. Remembering the reason for the season is also on a spiritual level. It's, again, that love of being with family and friends, that why this is a season of joy. So whatever your spiritual tradition, take time for that reflection and meditation. Be careful of your diet, not overeating, not overdrinking. Take time for exercise, and look at your attitude. Again, how you're viewing the situation is going to impact how you're going to respond to the situation. When we look at commitment, it's looking at making the commitment also to deal with stress in a positive light. If you commit to dealing with stress positively, you're already halfway there. So again, have that be as important a priority as the gift giving or the holiday activities. And I want to kind of share with people a short meditation or breathing exercise that we can do right here for a couple moments. So taking a moment now at your desk to close your eyes and listen to your breath. We're slowing down now. Notice breathing in and breathing out. Can help to breathe in a sense of calmness and exhale the tension. Quietly repeating one word like calm, relax, quiet, calm, and hear yourself without speaking, kind of listening and to the chatter and noticing the thought and then letting it go. Don't get hooked by that thought into a storyline. Noticing your physical sensations of the clothing touching your body. Noticing what you're hearing, the cars passing outside, the sound of my voice right now. Simple mindfulness exercises can help slow us down. And listen for 15 minutes or so, or 2 minutes. So again, having a reasonable expectation. If you have 30 seconds to take a couple breaths, that's valuable too. So breathing in, calm, and exhaling tension. Breathing in and breathing out. And gradually now open your eyes and come back to this webinar and our time together. My encouragement is that this type of time is so important, especially during this busy holiday season. And even taking those couple of minutes or that 30 seconds to slow down, to do some deep breathing, to let go, to relax the shoulders, to relax the furrowed brow is important and valuable time that we can take for ourselves. And we will touch on some of the things we've referenced in this webinar that might be some practical things. When we talk about diet or what our nutrition is during this holiday season, remembering to consume more vegetables and fruits, whole grains, remember to drink water, remember to take the important vitamins of A, B, C, and E vitamins. And also be careful to consume less of the sugar, white flour, drinks containing alcohol, or drinks containing caffeine. Caffeine can hype us up. Alcohol can be we think is a stress reliever, and we all know that it can be a very problematic, and to not use that as a way to relax. That's kind of a way that it can become more of a problem if we use it as a stress reduction in itself. So being careful about diet in many aspects. If we look also at exercise, which it can help the body to cope with mental and physical effects of stress with exercise. But set realistic goals, whether it's weight loss, endurance, strength training, or even simpler. Today I'm just going to walk around the block. Today I'm going to do my Pilates DVD. Today I'm going to do a little bit of exercise in my home with yoga. So we can get caught with, again, that expectation. If I'm not going to the gym or if I'm not walking 5 miles a day, I'm not doing enough, and that can add to our stress level. So setting realistic goals, even down to just what is reasonable to do today, that will help me continue with some kind of exercise. And then we talk about also attitude. So negative versus positive self-talk, and I actually would even say realistic self-talk. So we can get caught in the positive too much, sort of the Pollyanna approach to positive thinking, which can set us up for disappointment if we don't have the everybody should be in, we want everyone to be happy today. So realistic self-talk. Challenge yourself to look at the bright side. So, or again, the realistic side. So having say, this is, I can look, again, is my glass going to be half empty or is my glass going to be half full? Rather than looking at the negative, look at what we have to be grateful for. And just a simple gratefulness exercise can be just once a day, to recognize something that you were happy about today or that you were grateful for today, whether it was an interaction with a coworker, whether it was a joke that you heard, whether it was a gift that you bought for a family member that you feel good about, whether it was a phone call from a family member that was nice to receive, whether it was just looking at the decorations that are in your neighborhood or downtown. What do you have to be grateful for? If we can take time for that every day, that helps with our more positive focus or more positive attitude. And if we look at finding the true meaning of the holidays, we want to remember that holidays are a time to celebrate a religious holiday. For many, whatever the religious holiday is, it's a time to enjoy family. It's a time to make, bake, and enjoy the holiday treats, just not in excess. And it's a time to celebrate with family and friends. It's a time also to help others and be active in the community. One of the ideas for family traditions can also be, and I know for many, are things like adopting a family, where you all adopt a family through your church or workplace, and you buy a gift for that family, the low-income family that otherwise wouldn't have gifts, or provide food for the family. That can be a tradition that can be helpful to your family, and it's also a way of helping others and an awareness of others less fortunate in the community. So explore that idea with kids, which many of you may already have done, and involve them in that process as well. Also, in terms of donations, this is a time of year where we spend money on lots of stuff, but it's also a time of year where we are looking and are certainly solicited by many worthy causes for donation. So that can also be, that's, I feel, very important to pay attention to. And through the Willamette Week gift guide, there's many examples of worthy causes: environmental, social service, social justice. So if you're looking for ideas, I would encourage you to go to the Willamette Week gift guide. And again, one of those that can involve the entire family. Where do we want our extra money to go to this year? And where do we want the donations that that we make, the worthy causes that are important to us as a family or are important to me as an individual? And make that not be an extra pressure or stress, but budget for that donation and feel good about how that kind of giving, recognizing that's part of what this holiday is about. That's part of the true meaning of the holidays that we need to pay attention to. So, as we kind of, also my encouragement is that some of these ideas may be very familiar to you, maybe things that you're already doing and want to just renew your commitment to doing. Or you may realize that you've gotten off track on what the true meaning of the holidays is for you, and you want to try to do things a little bit differently. So kind of even making a holiday contract with yourself of, I'm going to start doing more exercise, or I'm going to start doing more, taking time for myself for personal time so that I don't get swept up in the busyness. I'm going to stop doing as much drinking of alcohol at family or neighborhood or social gatherings. I'm going to stop doing so much eating of sugar and cookies and candy over this holiday season. And then I'm going to continue a wonderful tradition of fill in the blank, whatever that tradition is for you. And it might even be renewing a tradition that you may have lost track of, or an earlier family tradition that you've lost track of. So making another commitment to continue a wonderful tradition, or again, trying a new tradition that you're going to experiment with this year, and perhaps continue next year if it's successful, or let it go if it's not successful. Again, being easy on yourself as far as expectations go will also help make it easier on your family members as well, as far as what their experience will be of this holiday season. So in closing, I want to, above all, encourage you to take time for yourself and create a holiday that works for you and your family. And I appreciate all of you being here today with this webinar, and want to remind you of the resource that you have with Reliant Behavioral Health as your EAP for individual or family help on any issue that might be causing stress in your life throughout the year, but especially during this holiday season. And in looking at whether there are any questions, it doesn't seem like there are any questions from the audience, and I just want to again appreciate your attendance at this webinar and wish you a happy holiday season. Thank you.